everyone, and we are going to be
Recording in progress.
starting our meeting today. And so if we want to, I guess, take roll call.
Chair Sorgman,
Here.
Vice Chair Marston,
Here.
Committee Member Chen,
Here.
Committee Member Kovich,
Here.
Committee Member Kuntz,
Here.
Committee Member Rassler,
Here.
Committee Member Tejada, Council Member Oscar Gutierrez, Brian Demore,
Here.
John Doimus, and Sarita King.
Here.
And so I just want to acknowledge that we have a new member, Barbara Chen, and I just wanted to welcome you. We had a conversation over the weekend, and thank you so much for volunteering and also for introducing yourself to all the board members and for this business card. It's really cool. I mean, just the symbol that you've come up with, really. I don't know if you all have seen this. She has a symbol of accessibility that she's painted because she's an artist. So thank you. You want to just say hello and kind of introduce yourself and your interest in this board?
Oh, well, my name is Barbara Chen, and it's my first time serving on a committee. I am excited to be here. Thank you very much for the warm welcome and for your kind words. And it was great to speak to you. Basically, the short story is, I am not disabled. I don't have a background in disability issues. I'm not an architect or an engineer, but I have passion and desire to learn and desire to help. And so I'm here to help in any way I can. And I'm also an artist, by the way. So I did paint that myself, and I also make jewelry and things like that. So I do other things.
Thank you so much, and thank you for your passion and your commitment to spending time for the members of the Santa Barbara community, because really that's who you're representing. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so committee member reports and staff announcements.
I have a committee member report. I want to note for the record that this committee has made repeated requests over an extended period for the park staff to present and educate us on the processes and procedures related to construction projects and accessibility compliance. Those requests have not been accommodated. And because this is not on today's agenda, I'm not asking for a discussion. I am requesting that staff place an item on a future agenda. I'm not asking parks to come. I'm asking staff to answer these questions now. The title of the agenda item is Accessibility Compliance Controls for Parks-Led Projects. Brian, I'll give you this printout. You don't have to try and write it down. Design review, field verification, and closeout documentation, and to circulate a written memo in advance that includes, 1, when and why parks projects do or do not go through building and safety permitting. 2, the step-by-step workflow for accessibility compliance on parks-led projects. 3, roles and accountability. 4, plan-level accessibility review. 5, construction phase verification. 6, closeout requirements. 7, exceptions and deviations. 8, records and transparency. Brian, can you confirm whether staff can place this on the next regular meeting agenda and what the deadline is for written materials to be included in the packet? I have multiple documented examples that I can provide staff after the meeting for inclusion in the packet, but this committee needs to understand the city's process in order to fulfill its commitment and the committee's responsibility. I have documented numerous shortcomings in the process for accessibility compliance in parks projects, And I'm not looking to point blame. I'm looking to solve a process failure. And we're getting stonewalled by Parks, who doesn't want to come tell us about their process for years. So I'm now going to escalate around the Parks Department. And my first step is with you, but I have several others that I can follow if needed. Can you commit to that meeting and provide us with this information?
So the next meeting is May 15th, 2026. So that's a lot of advance notice, which is appreciated. And I think we can have the discussion. For me, I think it will be most effective if staff from Parks and Rec are available. So I will want to reach out to them and confirm that they have availability. But like I said, 3 months in advance is
Yeah.
sufficient notice to make sure that we're able to have staff present.
So, if it's helpful, I can bring this issue to the city administrator. I can bring this issue to the chief building official. I think they should all be involved and understand that we've been asking Parks for this meeting for years, and we've been denied for years. And so I'm tired of waiting on Parks to come educate us on their process. So we need to go around Parks and understand. And I'm not looking to blame anyone or hold anyone responsible. I'm looking to understand the process and correct any process failures and shortcomings.
Yeah, and I'll just say, Committee Member Kuntz, that I have heard these requests over the years, and I'm going to take some of the blame that I haven't elevated it to the point of putting it on the agenda. I have brought it to the attention of Park staff. I've talked to them about it, but I think what's really helpful is today is you've really outlined specific things that you're looking for, so that will make it easier now for me to talk to Park staff, to also talk to city administrator, other departments about what it is we're trying to accomplish with an agenda item, and I think we can make that happen for May.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, and I just wanted to let the other committee members know that at our last phone call, we did have this discussion about parks and when they were going to be coming to our meeting. And Brian felt that at this meeting, because we have a lot of items that we're going to be going over, that it might be too much. So hopefully we can now, with just this information and this outline that you have provided, just have it more, I guess, instruction as to what the expectation is. And yes, you are absolutely right that this is an ongoing topic that has been brought up consistently, because, you know, we've already discussed those projects that have gone to the building department, been plan checked, and then this Parks and Rec does it without a permit, never really addressing the accessibility portions of it. So this will be a great follow-up. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
All right, is there any other committee member report or staff report? No?
I do have one quick staff announcement. I just wanted to mention that John Doimus was appointed as city attorney. I think it was just a couple of days after our last meeting. So I'm not sure that the committee members were aware of that, but he is now city attorney and still involved with AAC-related matters. I don't know if they will eventually have somebody from their staff be sort of the liaison to this committee, but for now, he's the person that I turn to, like when we've had some conversations about the OPDMD, you know, he was the one from the city attorney's office that we talked to. So anyway, congrats to him. He's now been in that role for a few months, but wanted you all to know about that. Dan Henschke is still with the city as an hourly, supporting city attorney's office on certain special projects, basically. So yeah, he's still involved with DSAL, some of the development things on State Street, but yeah, he's still around.
All right, so then we open this up to public comment. Is there anyone here that's has public comment and no slips have been given? Okay, all right, so we'll skip that then. And So we have the election of the new chair and vice chair for the Access Advisory Committee.
Actually, we have one
Oh, public comment?
online. Accessible Santa Barbara would like to say something.
All right then, so we'll open that up to, and can you let them know how much time they have?
Good morning. Is my audio okay?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Good morning. This is Will Railing for Accessible Santa Barbara, an unincorporated nonprofit association, and I have not spoken to you in a while, so I wanted to also welcome the new member. It is great to see some new people joining, and I think each of us can remember when we got involved with accessibility, what a steep learning curve it was trying to get up to speed on the myriad requirements that the city is subject to, and that the whole sort of paradigm of the city meeting its legal obligations, but also going beyond, hopefully. And this committee's been so instrumental on both of those initiatives. So the other thing I wanted to mention, just little belatedly, to congratulate Brian on his appointment as Public Works Director, and say, as someone that observes, multiple jurisdictions around the state, it's phenomenal to have the Public Works, and I realize he may not have time to do this forever, but to have the actual Public Works Director continuing to staff your meetings is just amazing. And and I don't think anyone doubts that Brian is someone who truly cares about accessibility. So it was wonderful to see him get the job, and now it's just a bonus that he's continuing to participate in this committee. Lastly, I wanted to bring something plucked from the news to your attention and suggest that it might be something that the sidewalk subcommittee could discuss in the future, and that is the issue of scaffolding. Now, I actually live in San Francisco. I'm calling you from San Francisco right now. And up here, we have a fairly rigorous program for ensuring that when scaffolding is put over sidewalks, accessibility is maintained and safety. And the reason I bring this up, of course, is there was a pretty significant collapse of some scaffolding last week, recently, and thank God nobody was injured. But this sort of thing could obviously become a tragedy. And yes, there were severe winds, but it wasn't a hurricane. And scaffolding needs to be safe to prevent that from happening. But it's also an area where accessibility can really be affected, and especially not just due to the narrowing of the walk, but when people have to walk under scaffolding, but for people with low vision, especially, and using, whether using canes or not. Here we have an additional requirement of a colored board to help people with low vision see the vertical elements of the scaffolding as they approach it. But I think something that's been very common up here that's rather new to Santa Barbara is construction projects that go right up to the sidewalk or over, and therefore require scaffolding over the sidewalk. So I think there's a trend to sort of do away with setbacks and build right up to the property line. And so I do think it's going to be an issue going forward, and perhaps something that would be timely for the sidewalk subcommittee to take up. Thank you.
Thank you, Will. Nice
Thank
to
you.
hear from you.
Thank you so much. So I know that this is public comment and we don't get to say anything, but can we definitely bring this on to discuss? I know that the process was, when scaffolding was happening, that it would be reviewed by the building department. The building department would look at the structure, Public Works would look at accessibility. I mean, the building department and Public Works would look at accessibility, and the building department would look at structure. So is that still happening? And I guess that's what we'd want to know.
Chair Sorgman, I'm actually not sure for the scaffolding, who does the reviews. That makes sense, the way you've outlined it, but that's something we could have a discussion about, whether at full committee or as a subcommittee. And I know there's other items related to construction, such as, pedestrian detours may not be related to scaffolding, but there's often signage and different things that are out that can make it difficult for certain pedestrians to navigate during construction. So if we wanted, we could have a broader discussion to not only include scaffolding. And I think it was mentioned the sidewalk ad hoc, which it looks like we do still have as an active committee. So
Yeah, that would be great, because I know when I was at the building department, I think Chris Short was the one that took a look at the scaffolding details. And I guess we need to make sure that building department and Public Works acknowledge what the roles are so that it gets permitted correctly, and construction teams and architects and who is ever putting these things together understand that there's an obligation. All right, so we'll bring that up then. Thank you. All right, so we're on to the chair and vice chair elections.
Would you do us the honor of continuing as chair?
I would.
I nominate Elizabeth Sorgman as chair.
I would second that nomination.
Does anyone else want to be chair and throw their name into hat here? Silence. Okay, so we'll go ahead and take the vote.
Chair Sorgman,
Yes.
Vice Chair Marston,
Most definitely.
Committee Member Chen,
Yes.
Committee Member Kovich,
yes.
Committee Member Kuntz,
Absolutely.
Committee Member Rassler,
Yes.
and Committee Member Tejada.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so we're going on to the approval of the minutes, so we
We need
need,
a vice chair.
oh,
Does anyone want to volunteer to be vice chair? Committee member Rassler, would you consider?
No, I'm going to decline. Thank you.
I'm open to it. It's Jim right now, right? Did Jim
Yeah.
want to continue?
Jim, are you?
I would love to continue, but I'm
Yeah, that's
open to step down if someone else needs it.
You guys want to arm wrestle for it? Yeah, I'm torn here. Who's the better candidate? Who's got the time and the desire and the experience? Who?
Yeah, Jim has the best experience, definitely. So,
Well-
if you want to continue one more time, I'll step aside for this time.
Okay. I'll take that. Thank you.
Then I will nominate Jim Marston as vice chair.
And I will second that nomination.
all right, then we'll take a roll call.
Chair Sorgman,
Yes.
Vice Chair Marston,
Yes.
Committee Member Chen,
Yes.
Committee Member Kovich,
Yes,
Committee Member Kuntz,
Yes.
Committee Member Rassler,
Yes.
and Committee Member Tejada.
All right, thank you so much, everyone, and so thank you, Jim, for continuing on as vice chair. All right, so we need a motion for approval of the minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes from 3 months ago.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, so we've got 2 seconds there. All right, so do we just want to say yes, or do we want individual votes? How do you want to do this?
We can do individual. Vice Chair Sorgman,
Yes.
Vice Chair Marston,
Yes.
Committee Member Chen,
Abstain.
Committee Member Kovich,
yes,
Committee Member Kuntz,
Yes.
Committee Member Ressler,
Yes.
and Committee Member Tejada.
All right, then, thank you. The minutes have been approved. 88 Coordinators Report.
All right, thank you, Chair Sorgman, once again. Is this the third year or second? I'm not even remembering at this point.
I think it's just the second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it the third year of you being on the committee, though? Maybe.
Gosh.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it's third, yeah.
Okay. I don't have a lot under ADA Coordinator Report. One thing I did want to mention, we did hear from Accessible Santa Barbara, and I'm thankful for the kind words that he said about me being in this role. And I think at the last meeting, I said, I'll give you plenty of notice before I transition out of this. So this isn't that notice. But I did want to mention, because ultimately, we've had this plan for Craig eventually to step into the ADA coordinator role, Craig Schallenberger. He has been part-time helping with airport as one of their principal project managers. They had a vacancy that came up, and so he's spending about half of his time there. So it's definitely, it hasn't been the right time to make that transition. They did recently just fill that position, so he's going to be able to come back now to Public Works full-time. But I don't have a timeline yet, so as I said before, I'll give you a good probably 6 months minimum notice, and that notice is not happening today. So you're going to have me, whether you like it or not, probably through most of the rest of the year at minimum. And then the only other thing I think I just wanted to, actually there's a couple other things. So Film Festival, I didn't hear a lot about how that all went, but they did have a grand opening of the film center like 2 days before the film festival started, which was amazing to me because I think I went by that site earlier in the day and it still looked like a construction site, but within hours they had it ready for the public to get in there. I haven't been in there myself, but I've heard that it was well done. But then when I went by this week, I could see there's still some construction activities. So the project is kind of still ongoing, but they were able to wrap up enough to get temporary certificate of occupancy, and I believe things went off effectively. And then I think remember in the past when they had stuff up at Arlington, it was a little bit awkward with the street closure and the barricades that used to be up there. But even that seems to go a lot smoother. It helped that the street, the block immediately before it, I think it's 12 or 1300, I forget which number block, but that used to be open, just sort of free flowing to pedestrians. And so people would cross that block and just end up against the barricades, and that was not very predictable. But now, because that street is no longer open for pedestrians, people are on the sidewalk, and there was passage along the sidewalk through there. So I think that went well. I didn't hear anything on the contrary from film festival activities this year. And then one other thing, I think I have a copy of it here in my packet, but as a follow-up to something that we heard from members of the committee, I did write a letter to Marburg about placement of bins. And it became an interesting discussion. I don't know if you're aware, but our Sustainability and Resilience Department manages that contract with Marburg. And so I learned that there are very specific provisions in that contract about keeping pathways clear. They have basically agreed to that per their contract. So where it gets a little bit tricky are in places like the Riviera. There's some other places too where it's like you've got a very narrow sidewalk and maybe no parkway, so there aren't very convenient locations of placing bins. And I think that's part of the reason why they have historically allowed for keeping your bins on site, and they would send staff to go retrieve those bins and bring them out and then take them back. And they were working, I think specifically, I know on Las Positas, to no longer have that policy where they would go get your bins, but that was requiring residents to drag their bins out to a place, either they'd have to put it in the street or on the sidewalk. There's no other place to put it, or on the sidewalk block in their driveway. So I think they've, for now anyway, sort of pulled back from that, recognizing that they can't expect the residents to wheel their bins out and put them in a spot that's going to be blocking the path of travel. But it's opened up some dialogue between city staff and Marburg to try to resolve that. But it was also an opportunity to remind Marburg, and they committed to letting all of their field staff know that when they do return bins, whether it's onto somebody's property or if it's just within the right of way, that they must keep the path of travel clear per their agreement with the city. So if there are any locations where you're seeing that as a recurring issue, please let me know, because they want to hear that Marburg actually wants that feedback so they can address those types of problems if we're seeing them.
I imagine that's going to be difficult for us to accurately report on, because we won't know if it's the homeowner who's put out the problem or Marburg putting it back in the wrong spot.
I think by time of day, you'll have a little bit of a clue, but also I notice, like at my house, when I put the bins out, they're all three in nice, neat, orderly fashion. When Marburg returns them, they don't return them haphazardly, but they're not quite as orderly. So there are some clues,
They're not
but
engineers.
it's, yeah. Yeah. That's all I had for ADA coordinator report.
Could you mention the tactile,
Oh, right, sorry.
And then I have a comment about something else after that.
Okay. So yes, some other coordination I've had with members of the committee. So regarding the truncated domes, the tactile warnings, I don't know, there's probably 3 or 4 other names for those devices. Well, there's a long history. I don't know how much I want to get into, but it took a while for the city to agree to standardize the federal yellow. So there was a period of time where we were allowing other contrasting colors. But then we made the decision, especially it was getting confusing too, because we had in some locations yellow, other locations different colors. But it's been a while now that we've been going with the yellow. But there are still some locations that got installed a while back that have a non-standard federal yellow color. And we've been, over the years, retrofitting those. And we haven't gotten to all of them. And we aren't going around comprehensively to look at the whole entire city to catalog which ones still need to be converted. But if members of the public, members of the committee, if they're noticing there are any that are not of the right color, I would say, you can always reach out to me, but there's also the SB Connect app is another good way to submit a request like that. And what we normally do is we'll receive enough of them, kind of build up a list to have enough to send the contractor out to go and take care of a bunch all at once rather than one at a time. I don't think there's too many left, but occasionally we are still catching a few that have slipped through the cracks. Also, another issue that we had, there was a period of time with these truncated domes where one of the products was fading. So it started out and it might have been the right color, but over time it faded. And they acknowledged that there was actually an issue with their spec. It's more of like a paint product. So they've been fixing those at no cost. And I don't know how many, if we have any left that are like that, but that's another thing that we've been addressing over the years. Yeah, that,
Thank you.
I think that covers that item. And yeah, Skylar had his hand raised a
Yeah.
moment ago.
So, let's see, is my microphone on or? No.
No, it's not on.
So, I'm not, hopefully this is the best place to put this, but I wanted to share my appreciation that, there was a tree removal, near Mesa Park. That tree was really obstructing the sidewalk. It was, around the spot where Miggs Road turns into Shoreline Drive, and also known as Lighthouse Road. And, yeah, it was definitely a big sidewalk obstruction. And so I'm curious if ADA was any of the reason for that, or if it was, you know, something different that kind of pushed the city to finally decide that. It's definitely helps a lot.
Yeah, Committee Member Kovich, thank you so much for bringing that up. I should have had that on my list because it was 100% for accessibility reasons that tree was removed. Many of you probably know that this community loves its trees, so it can be hard to take trees down even when they are creating accessibility issues. But that one seemed to be, it reached a point where to me it was unforgivable, the amount of blockage that was creating on that critical path of travel. So we did get approval to get that removed, and it sat on a list for a little while, and then all of a sudden, a week or two ago, we heard that it was coming down. So it was a little bit of a surprise, because that goes into Parks and Rec under the urban forestry program, but they did take that down. I'm not sure, I haven't been out there to see whether the site has been restored to have a path of travel that,
Yeah, it is.
okay,
Yeah, that's my regular path. I
great.
walk several times a week from my house to Shoreline Park, and yeah, the sidewalk is completely normal now. I mean, there's one place where they had to put more of a manhole cover type thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's definitely very accessible now, and yeah, they did a great job with that.
Great. Thanks for that update.
Brian, I have one comment. You mentioned the film festival, so like you, I go by there every day and was amazed to see how quickly they finally cleaned it up. So I went inside, and I walked the ramp, which is really nice. I went to see all the bathrooms, and they seemed good, but I would like to have someone inspected eventually. But it looks good to me. And you mentioned the lines of people waiting to get in. Because State Street is closed in that block, they have all the lines in the street. So they're not blocking the sidewalk like they used to. They had you waited in the street anyway, so that was nice. But like you, I was shocked to see all of a sudden, bam, it's open. And now I guess they're putting the new marquee and stuff and all that. Thank you for that report.
All right, then, thank you, everyone. So we are moving on to the ad hoc committee reports. I'm just going to ask a question before we go down through each list. Who schedules these meetings? Because I know I'm on the sidewalk ad hoc committee, and I've never been on one of these committee meetings. So is it the committee members that need to arrange these meetings? Is it staff
Well,
that says?
You can blame me for that.
Okay.
We used to have meetings, but there didn't seem to be anything pressing, so I now just talk to Derek Grayley every meeting.
Okay.
And
Get an update?
yeah.
All right, so-
Just to have Nick read out, but that's why you're not on that committee.
Okay.
I would like to have a meeting, but there was no problems I could think of.
Okay, so, but we did, I guess the one item that was brought up during public comment was the scaffolding. So then that would require a meeting for the sidewalk ad hoc committee?
I guess so.
Okay, so I'm just checking, so.
I want to check
Yeah,
with Brian,
and-
is that
and
the right place to go?
I think for that one, that would
Yeah.
make sense.
Okay, and also my concern's always
Right,
about the audio,
for detour, yep.
the audio detour. That
Yeah.
should go to Derek?
Derek would be involved in
Okay.
that, but it would probably be other staff as well from Public
Okay.
Works Engineering. And to get to Chair Sorgman's, I think there was kind of an implied question about how do we go about scheduling ad hoc meetings. There isn't a set way of doing it. It can be staff initiated, but it can be like what we saw at the beginning of the meeting today, where committee members have an item that they would like to have a discussion on, and it gets pushed to one of the ad hocs. And then sometimes we have an actual discussion item at the committee meeting where there's a follow-up, like intentionally, like that's how the full committee decides, like, let's move this to one of the ad hocs for further discussion and then bring it back to the full committee. So there's a variety of ways that items can end up over there.
I think there's also been times when ad hoc committees have just had informal email chains working through some of these issues and then come back to the full committee. So, but I would like to suggest that when Jim schedules the meetings with Derek Bailey, that we be included in those. I wouldn't mind attending. You just do those over the phone?
Yeah, it's for the email, but I'd like to have an in-person meeting with him
We could do it Zoom.
about this.
yeah, we
Well,
don't-
okay, we'll set something up.
Yeah,
I'll get some facts on the scaffolding,
okay,
and I'll set that up.
okay.
And Barbara, I want to let you know that you're welcome to join any. 3 is the maximum on these ad hoc, so if there's any place that you'd like to be.
Uh-oh, I
let
may
us
be
know.
in violation.
Me too.
If there's a maximum of 3, I may be in violation.
No, I think he's just saying 3 members
3
per.
people
Oh,
per-
got it, got
per
it,
ad hoc.
got it.
So there's some that just have 2 now.
There was
So,
a period when I felt like I was on every one of these, and
okay,
I wanted to correct that.
but let us know if you'd like to join any of these.
Okay, thank you for that.
So, Jim has forwarded me this report from Derek Bailey about the sidewalk improvement updates. And there's quite a lot of things on here. I can see why he might have forgotten about the Shoreline Park correction, but that seems like it would have been a good thing for here. First item is FY23C project is mostly complete, which included over 100 ramps and sidewalk repair in the Mesa, West Side, and San Roque neighborhoods. Maybe the issue Skylar was mentioning falls into that category. The FY25C project is underway, which includes 60 ramp and sidewalk repairs in the Upper East Side. After this project, there are no more planned ramp and sidewalk maintenance project due to budget cuts in the street maintenance area. Crews will continue to perform minor repairs, and there will be ramps and repairs done with the upcoming grant-funded projects on Milpas and Cliff Drive, but nothing more in terms of capital maintenance. Number 3, construction will start this spring on the grant-funded crosswalk repair project on Upper De La Vina. The project includes curb extensions and dual directional ramps at the intersections along De La Vina from Valerio to Alomar, except Mission Street and Quinto Street, which are already complete. The project includes new APS at the Alomar Avenue traffic signal.
Yes, accessible pedestrian signals.
Didn't we just have that done there? I thought that was already done. Maybe I'm misremembering. The project, number 4, the projected begin of construction for the Milpas Street project has slid to early 2027. This project will improve crosswalk safety from Quinientos to Canyon Perdido. The project includes new dual directional ramps and curb extensions at most intersections, improved lighting, and APS at all traffic signals. A new traffic signal will be installed at Milpas Street and Yananali Street. Number 5, the grant-funded project on Cliff Drive will also begin in early 2027. The project includes 4 new traffic signals. All new and existing traffic signals will have new dual directional ramps and APS. No new APS have been installed since the last update, but we will be installing new PS this spring at Milpas Street and Cacique Street and Milpas Street at Calle Puerto Vallarta. Number 7, the new blue zones were installed this week in the Funk Zone. The locations are northbound Anacapa Street just north of Cabrillo, next to the Fish House, and southbound Santa Barbara Street just south of Yananali Street. There are 2 more blue zones that will be added near Yananali Street in the Funk Zone in the future. Those will be added when we construct a grant-funded crosswalk safety project on Yananali Street between Helena Avenue and Gray Avenue. That project is planned for late 2027 or early 2028. Item number 8, 2 downtown intersections are being reconstructed to improve accessibility and improve traffic safety. The intersections of Anacapa Street and Figueroa Street is currently under construction. In about 2 weeks, the crews will move to Anacapa Street and Anapamu Street. The project includes new compliant ramps, rebuilt traffic signals with new countdown timers, and APS. And that concludes the report from Derek Bailey.
All right, then, thank you. Do we have any other reports from any of the other committees?
But I have,
We have an opening for the parking ad hoc. Currently, it's Suzanne and I, and we have room for a third if anybody is interested.
Okay.
I have a little comment about the outdoor dining. I got some complaints a few weeks ago about a restaurant on the 1200 block of State Street. I wrote to the people who are in charge of that and asked them to let me know what's going on. I got one email saying we're looking into it, and that was 2 weeks ago. I've written 2 times again saying any updates, and there's been no communication at all. So it's one of those things where people that work for the city thinks they can just not answer questions and avoid their responsibilities. So I don't know what to do, but all I know is I can't get an answer on a dining place that doesn't have any accessible dining.
Sorry, were you writing to the restaurant or to a city department?
Yeah,
City department.
okay, yeah, I wasn't clear about that. I was about to ask, who are you talking about? Okay. So you've emailed, what department have you emailed?
It's part of the city administrator's office that does the parking, the old parks and, or the parking department.
So, I mean, the outdoor dining is part of Public Works, correct? No?
No, they moved to
They
the,
moved? Okay.
Right, so Public Works currently only manages the, kind of the original outdoor dining, which is
Right.
right up against the
building.
properties.
Okay.
I understood that program was abandoned, essentially.
It hasn't been abandoned, but the fees have been diminished to the point where it's
There's no longer any staff to
nearly
maintain it.
nearly free. But it is still an active program. We're actually meeting soon internally to discuss the management of outdoor dining in general, because from the customer standpoint, it can be very confusing to have different departments involved in different things, and I don't think that they necessarily know of all these little nuances between, well, if it's on State Street and it's in the street, it's this. If it's not on State Street and it's on a street, it's some other program. But then if it's the original up against your building, it's this other program, and you're dealing with a different type of application. So we're going to have a discussion about how we manage that. But what you're talking about on State Street, if you can forward me, if you've been communicating by email, if you can forward that to me, I can elevate that.
okay, and maybe I made a mistake. This is on the sidewalk. This is not a parklet.
Okay,
So is that part of Public Works?
it
you're
is.
saying?
So please send it to me,
Okay,
So
and it'll be even easier to elevate that.
okay, thank you.
on this subject, and for your planned meeting that you just mentioned, I remember back to just before the pandemic, it felt like we were really starting to make some traction with city staff on the outdoor dining licensing program and accessibility enforcement. And then the COVID pandemic hit and all the rules were out the window and everybody started thumbing their nose about accessibility, and we had all these problems with the parklets and it became a big nightmare. But then I always had hope that we'd come back and all of the outdoor dining would be under the same permitting structure, and then we could get back to the process of ensuring accessibility and enforcement. So if you can, if there's any way that you can champion that effort at this meeting, I would really appreciate it.
Yep, that's part of my motivation. I mean, some of it is just streamlining, simplifying from the applicant, from the customer standpoint, but it also would have a huge benefit from accessibility, having kind of the same set of eyes across the board, somebody who's trained and knows what to look for. Yeah.
So who currently is looking or reviewing or administering the outdoor dining on State Street? What is it?
So if it's not the old program,
Right.
then it's the downtown team, which did move all of downtown parking, including the administrative aspect of things like the outdoor dining and citywide permitting for parking. All of that moved from Public Works to the city administrator's office at the beginning of this fiscal year. We still coordinate very closely together, Public Works staff and that staff that moved over. But there's now an organizational shift with that.
So who is in charge at the city administrator's office that reviews?
So kind of my equivalent over in that shop, I would say, would be Anthony Valdez.
And so then there is a system by which a member of the
Recording in progress.
the public will submit an application, will submit whatever paperwork is required, and someone, whether it's Anthony Valdez or someone else in his office, reviews the applications, looks at the site plan, looks at accessibility, and do they have training? Do they have knowledge?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's,
And if needed, we can pull in an outside CASP to help. Or we can, I think in the application process, it's been a while since I've looked at it, but I think we require that they bring on a CASP.
I'm sorry, we're gonna have to pause the meeting. We're having some Zoom issues, so it kicked us out.
Okay.
all right.
We
So-
were almost at the break.
Right. All right, so we'll take a 5-minute, 10-minute break. Start our meeting again.
Recording in progress.
All right. So the first item that we have here, I think we finished with the reports from the ad hoc committee, so can someone,
I'm
Make
not sure.
sure.
No, we were still in the middle of that.
okay,
We got to see outdoor dining, and I don't know that we finished that one.
okay.
I was finished with that one.
Okay,
I'll deal with-
so, recognition nomination ad hoc committee. We have an opening there if anybody's interested in joining that ad hoc. But also, I want to note that it's time to start thinking about that. We will be accepting nominations at the next meeting. And so if anyone has thoughts, ideas on a organization or individual that deserves recognition, bring those to the next meeting. Along that line, some of us have become aware of the inclusive cafe that's going in next to the film center, and I would encourage others, if you're not familiar, to check them out. The name's not coming to me right now, but they have started a process that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And they may be on my short list for recommendation for recognition.
Any idea if it'll be open by that point?
Yeah, it's unclear.
Okay.
right, so then, do we have any special events, ad hoc committee?
That's another committee that has an opening. And I would really like to suggest, nay, beg Elizabeth Sorgman to join that ad hoc committee.
I mean, I actually have been doing work with Karen, and so I was on that committee.
Okay,
Even
well,
though-
I think it would be nice to have it official on the record.
All right, then. Okay, so then the ADA Transition Plan Ad hoc Committee?
Nothing to report there. Wondering, yes,
I know we're going to have an update today.
yeah.
Okay, so we'll get some information in the next, I guess, half hour. And then especially the police station, I have not gotten to that, just life's been complicated for me.
Yeah.
So, okay. So we're going to have the OPDMD's discussion. Who is going to hit set up?
All right, well, thank you, Chair Sorgman. We have Parks and Recreation Director Jill Zachary here, and this is a follow-up. We did have an initial fairly brief discussion at the last meeting in November. This was an item that was brought forward by Committee Member Kuntz with a bunch of supporting information, and was able to get park staff here today. So I'll turn it over to Jill to begin the discussion on this. So thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Is this working? I don't have to wear my hearing aids because you're all mic'd. It's really wonderful. Hi, I met with Brian a couple of times. I missed your last meeting because of various family issues that I had going on. But I also read what Mr. Kuntz put together, did a bunch of research on what other communities have done for OPDMD policies. There's got to be a better way of saying it. We have to come up with something. And I'm really here to let you know that the department's certainly interested in developing a policy and looking carefully at our city parks, open spaces, and take advantage of both what's been suggested as well as what other communities have adopted, and find a way to integrate that into policy for Parks and Recreation. So from my standpoint, it would be best for me to hear from you, specific interests or issues or considerations that you have, and then figure out how we move forward.
I think I outlined all of my major areas of interest in the draft ordinance that I proposed, and would certainly welcome feedback from staff on that, and begin a dialogue back and forth. I don't think I have anything new to add to that recommendation at this time, but might, depending on staff feedback, I might have some comments or rationale behind advocating one way or another on something. So, yeah, without more feedback from staff, I don't have anything to contribute at this time.
Nick, have you distributed that to the committee members? Is that,
I believe it was, yeah.
I'm trying to remember it.
Yeah, it was in the report,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
But can you, I know at the last meeting, we talked about just staff education
Yep.
for equipment. And so can you just share your experiences with that, with what's happened and
I mean,
what kind of got you thinking about this?
So what's got me thinking about this is, for years I've wanted a more capable mobility device, and I'm in the process of building one now. And I want to be able to walk my dog on the beach. I want to go out to Henry's Beach in the off-leash dog area, and this thing would not make it 3 inches in the sand, but the device I'm building, I believe will. But my concern is that I spend a bunch of money and have a park ranger tell me I can't do that. So,
So see that happening.
yeah, I know. But I'm ready to take that risk. And so, my concern is the vehicle I'm building, because it's going to have larger balloon tires, may look a lot more like a all-terrain vehicle than a wheelchair. I'm also concerned that because some of the components come from the electrical bike or electric motorcycle industry, that there'll be a lot of confusion about how to enforce the various laws, right? Is it a vehicle code issue? Is it a e-bike issue? Is it an ADA issue? So it would be helpful for everyone to have some clarity on that.
So Susan, did you have any experience too with something like that?
I'm sorry, my experience is I have a 3-wheel electric tricycle that I take to the Douglas Preserve, and I take it to Illings Park. And I did reach out to the board at Illings Park and told them what I was doing, and I wrote a letter and an email, and I haven't heard any issues about, because they have a no e-bike policy. So that's a private park, so that's a different situation. And I do want to take it down to Hendry's Beach. I have not done that yet. But anyway, so I haven't had any issues
Okay.
with what I've been doing. But it's just the clarity, I mean, it's just the questions that Nick has been raising. That,
Yeah, someone sent me an email with a video, and I'd have to go through to see if I can find it again, but it showed someone in some kind of, looks like a electric bike of some sort, and in some park, on some trail, and someone giving them a tough time about the fact that they're using this, and there's some exchange of, hey, I'm disabled. Was that was okay? All right, so it was just interesting, because one would think that if you see, or maybe they don't recognize it, I don't know, that you would be a little more forgiving or understanding, but there were some tense words exchanged by these two parties as to, you shouldn't have that, and it was like, wait, I mean, for obvious reasons, I'm using this. And so I think that's what, trying to get some information to staff or to the public. I don't know if it's signage. and
Did
may
that
not
occur
work.
in a city park, or is that in another community?
I think
It
that
was
was in
another community.
another
I
community.
believe that was it was like a mountain bike situation. Somebody had an adaptive mountain bike. It was electric power driven, and they were on a mountain bike trail up in the forest somewhere, probably not even in the state of California. It looked like Oregon, maybe, to me, if it's the same one. And it was a irate pedal bike rider who was objecting to the electric vehicle on their trail. Territorial, yeah, it was very much a territorial thing.
The real problem here, and I think that Brian understands this, is that the ADA says these things are illegal, but the people who work at the parks and the forest preserves and stuff, they're not sure what's going on. So the one side is just like Nick says, just do it, build it out there, go and see if someone bothers you, right?
Right.
But it'd be nice to have something cohesion, say either these things are legal and we want everybody to know that they're legal or not. But we don't really want to have a huge ordinance if we don't have to have an ordinance,
Yeah.
right? We just want to have some kind of understanding.
So my own interest drove this discussion, but I'm not really concerned about the legalities myself. I'm pretty confident in the ADA's providing me with.
Right, I was going to say that. I mean, it's pretty clear that
Yeah.
those are acceptable. So
Right.
really, it comes to the public understanding that, or employees understanding that. and-
Yeah,
Well, whether they understand or not is irrelevant. They're legal. If you have a special need and
Right.
you need accessibility. And the good news, Nick, though, is when you finish constructing and you go out, if somebody does have a problem, it'll take them years to work through the process and who's responsible for making a decision about anything, and you'll be fine.
yeah,
So,
maybe shooting
so
myself in the foot
if-
by pressing for this ordinance.
If I could jump in a little bit, I hear what you're saying. I think it would be good to know more about what you'd like. I do actually think it would be appropriate to have a policy, because there may be locations where it isn't appropriate to have a very large device, given safety, grade, a number of issues. And if we're able to talk through the desires and the access needs, we'll be able to define so that everybody knows where it's clearly easy to take one of these devices. And I think some of the things that I've been looking at, and it was in your document as well, is speed, safety, protection of natural resources, any number of, width of the pathway, so the width of the machine. So those are the things that I think would be valuable to get clarity around. It may not be useful for you to know, but we do have electric beach wheelchairs at the Cabrillo Pavilion that are free to use, and we also have manual ones. So we provide that at no cost to the public. It may not be what you need or want, which I completely can understand, but I think there is some value. And as part of that, allows us to educate the public through the policy of what is allowed and why it's allowed, versus why another mobility device for someone who doesn't need it may not be allowed. So for example, an e-bike may not be allowed in a certain park, but a mobility device that's powered by electricity is, because it provides access to a segment of our community that otherwise couldn't enjoy that space. So there is logic. I would say that our approach would be a policy, not an ordinance, because that takes a lot longer to move through. We would have an approved policy. It doesn't have to be 18 pages long. There's great guidance from these other communities. And then we'd be able to sort of tackle some of these considerations, like when your new unit's constructed, can we have guidance as to where you go on the beach and when you go on the beach, only because we're not allowed to have equipment on the beach in certain situations because of the natural resources there. So we would want to be sure that people understood why and how. That's all. But it wouldn't preclude that access, if that makes sense.
The one thing that I would, that I want to give special attention to, special consideration to, is in the e-bike ordinance or regulations, there's a lot of concern given to the power of the motor, the wattage reading. And I would really like to see that not be a consideration in limiting the OPDMDs, because the mobility vehicle needs more power than an e-bike in order to push my considerable weight up grades and through the resistance of sand and whatnot. I could appreciate an ordinance that limited top-end speed, or any sort of showmanship, doing wheelies or anything. I have overpowered my device, but I have geared it down to keep it slow. That would be a huge disappointment for me if there was a power limitation put in place after I've invested many thousands of dollars into a very powerful motor.
So what I'm hearing you saying, it's okay to limit how fast it travels?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would suggest to the committee, if you like, we can draft a policy. I can work with Brian, and we can figure out when we bring it back for discussion.
Okay. I wonder if we have a ad hoc committee that would be appropriate to work on. This seems like it is ADA related. Could it, so that we don't have to be limited by a regular committee meeting schedule. It's often more expeditious to meet with the ad hoc
I think it might make sense for them to put together a policy and then have the committee members take a look and see
Okay.
if there's concerns and have an ad hoc committee if that's what's desired, right at that point, because then we'll have information.
Okay.
Okay? All right, then.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, so then we're on to the streets capital project update, not state streets, just streets capital projects.
All right, we are ahead of schedule. Maybe we'll get out of here by 11:30. That would be
Yay.
nice. So we did get a pretty comprehensive update that committee member Kuntz read from Derek Bailey's update. So we're gonna. I went over and talked to Eric Goodall, who's here to present, and handed him what was just read. So we're trying not to duplicate. So he kind of had to shift a little bit what he's planning to present, but I think it's going to be fairly brief as a result. But he's also available for any specific questions about things you may be wondering about related to some of the streets projects. But anyway, with that, Eric, you want to take it
Thank
from
you,
there?
Brian. Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Eric Goodall. I supervise the streets engineering design team for the city. Derek did save me a lot of words with his letter, so I'll keep it brief. I just want to touch on a few projects that we're working on in addition to this that have and are addressing accessibility issues in the city. One of them is the De La Vina Street Bridge, which we should be done with construction in the next year or so. We have additional ADA ramps and reflective beacons that are going in as part of that vehicular
Excuse me, is that
bridge
the one
project.
down by Haley area?
That's the one at Vernon, near Handlebar, where,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Marty's Pizza.
Marty's Pizza and the De La Vina Liquor, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Used to be. So, that one, we're in construction right now. We're in the first year of, it'll be a 2-ish year project. And then we're gonna be starting construction on the Carpinteria Street Bridge in the east side. Should be spring of 2027. So that bridge is one of the last timber bridges in the city, and its sidewalk doesn't really exist right now. There's timber lagging and asphalt, and that's about it. So we'll be replacing it with a bridge that is as wide as the existing roadway and addresses the accessibility through there by having continuous sidewalk and standard railing through that whole area. And then we'll also be starting design of the Islay Street Bridge over at Islay and Castillo. That bridge is narrow. It does work for 2-direction traffic, but we'll be widening the bridge and widening sidewalk. We'll be ideally having sidewalk on both sides of the street. Right now, there's just sidewalk on one side. And then Derek presented the rest of the items that we're really touching on in the city, so
He took away your thunder.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions or comments or any other concerns regarding capital projects updates?
I have a quick question about the Islay Bridge. Is that the one that goes over to a little, like an island or something, or?
Sort of, yeah. It's a little island of, it's one way in and out.
Yeah.
It butts up to, well, the 101.
Right.
And yeah,
So it doesn't
there's-
go across the 101, it just goes to that little
over
area
to
there?
it, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I-
And there's
I've
a
seen it.
large number of residents that live in that neighborhood. So
Okay.
it's a very important bridge.
Thank you.
So no questions? Okay, thank
All
you
right,
so much.
Thank you all.
All right, so then the exciting one is the ADA transition plan update, where we are and how much has been spent and that we're 100% done with everything. Be exciting to hear that.
That'll be the day.
Good morning.
Maya Adamson, project engineer for the city of Santa Barbara. Our design will take place today, so I will continue the update. Let's start with items.
Is that mic on?
Is this better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's start with items completed since the last update. We finalized signage in this building. We're moving on to City Hall signage next. We'll be doing all the priority sites, complete signage packages for those. So that's moving forward. City Hall and then all the subsequent sites will be next. That's ongoing. City Hall ADA restroom and elevator project, that is continuing to make progress. We received our first round of permit comments, so we're getting through that. We're hoping to get a finalized permit sometime this year. Let's see, 630 Garden. We are doing concrete work right outside here. Some of the sidewalks near the ADA parking stalls have heaved, and they're no longer compliant in terms of slopes and cross slopes. So that has been ongoing. We are getting a permit for that. It's a good example of a project that just takes a lot of time and effort because we're getting a permit, and we will be required to do environmental testing. So some of these findings are relatively easy, you know, like signage was relatively painless, and some of the findings take a lot more time and effort. And the concrete work is an example of that. So that also will be ongoing. Hopefully we can wrap that up in a few months.
So wait, what kind of testing do you have to do?
Environmental testing.
And is that because we have contaminated soil?
No, they want us to test the concrete. That was requested.
The coring of the concrete?
Yes.
The strength?
No, test the concrete for dangerous, hazardous materials.
The existing concrete that will
Yes.
be demoed.
Yes, exactly.
I think for maybe asbestos.
Yes, they want to test for
Oh,
asbestos.
I get it.
So that was unexpected, and so, yeah.
Could you not pour concrete on top of the concrete?
No, we need to take it all out and then re-pour, so.
Okay.
We have also updated electrical outlets and drinking fountain heights at the West Side Community Center in the main community room over there. They are now complying with required reach ranges. So that's what's going on currently. We are also tackling or starting to tackle the general evaluation sites just to get them recorded. We are creating Excel spreadsheets for all those as well, same as we have for the priority sites, just so that we can kind of assess what has already been taken care of and what needs to be taken care of. And ultimately, I think we'll probably be close to 50% of these findings that have already been remedied in the past 2 decades. So it's just to get a good handle on what's happening on the general sites as well, outside of the priority
And
sites.
how many of those sites, just to give some perspective?
Can't remember,
Okay.
but they were grouped, like fire stations, parks is one of them, waterfront is one of them. I think there might be like 5 categories of general site evaluations. So all those still have to be put into a spreadsheet,
And so when
but that's ongoing.
So when you're saying that you're this ongoing project, have you hired someone to go out to do this? Or
No,
you,
we've done everything.
so you guys are doing
internally.
this? Okay. All right. So you're
But the
taking.
general sites are much easier to evaluate. They don't have itemized lists. It's more of a general thing. So it shouldn't take as long as the original conversion to Excel for the priority sites packages.
Maya, can you explain the signage package you said you're doing?
Yes, so we are updating all interior building signage. So we've done 630 Garden here. You've noticed there are new compliant signs for everything, room names with Braille lettering.
Okay.
We've mounted them at the correct heights. So this building is fully compliant with the interior signage.
Okay, and these were done with outside contractors?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And so that contractor, we're moving from one site to another.
Okay.
Right now, we're working on City Hall. That's the next
Gotcha.
location.
I wasn't sure if you're doing it in-house or
No,
outside.
no. We
Okay.
have a really great signage guy, and yeah, he's been doing
Okay.
all of our signs.
So is that signage also including exterior signage or like directional signage outside?
That is a different contractor, and for that reason, it'll be a different bid package, a different project.
So when is that going to happen?
I'm not sure yet. But we are focusing, we are always focusing on the priority items we've discussed as a group, you know. So that should be coming as well.
And when you say priority as a group, you're talking about the
items,
committee? Or
yes, the
as opposed
committee
to-
priorities, your
Okay,
priorities.
as opposed to the 9
Yes,
priority
sorry.
projects? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
I was a little confused about that. Okay.
You guys compiled the priorities that you would like to see us
Correct.
work on.
Okay.
Yeah, those priorities. I do have an updated statistic for priority sites for completed findings. I think as of today, we have 1,942 findings that are completed with 1,632 remaining findings. Approximately 260 of those remaining findings, they are technically more difficult, and we will defer those to larger capital projects. So,
Can you give an example of one?
something like technically difficult structurally that might involve structural relocation, or if we needed, let me think, widening doorways is one that can be difficult to kind of take on its own, but easier to kind of lump into a larger capital project.
I mean, couldn't a door opener facilitate not having to
Yeah,
open the door?
yeah, that was just an example, but
Okay.
we do have these handfuls that are, some are technically difficult, yeah, and so we would defer those to larger capital projects. Like the City Hall parking lot, for instance, there are a lot of issues there. I think that would require a full redesign of that parking lot. So those items would be deferred to a full renovation of that parking lot.
So that parking lot going to get redone when you do, we're talking about the City Hall parking lot, right?
Yes.
Wouldn't that be part of then the elevator, bathrooms?
That is not part of that scope.
And why is that not?
This project was specifically restroom and elevator, and then we added interior ADA components. But that project was started about 5 years ago, so we were kind of in the middle of it. But adding interior door hardware findings, for instance, that was easy enough to add to the current drawings. But the parking lot, I don't think that was feasible to add.
So generally, when you're doing a project, the first thing that gets triggered is path of travel. Path of travel is parking, access from parking to the main entry, from the sidewalk to the main entry. So, I mean, I'm assuming that the projects, the elevator and the bathroom are completely accessible projects or not? I mean, if there's other components, then you would be required by code to treat the parking lot. So unless it's only barrier removal, then barrier removal exempts some of the other items. So I don't know the scope of what is being prepared for those drawings, but if it includes other areas, then you're required to bring those into compliance and not defer them.
That project is considered fully barrier removal project.
Okay, so nothing else is part of that then?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's important to know, just, you know, as committee members, is to, it allows you, you know, CBC and ADA can, there's forgiveness if you're doing a project to solely remove barriers.
Yeah.
And doesn't trigger path of travel, so that's, so, you know.
Yeah.
So we all understand that, that's not a requirement that they have to fix that then.
Yes, and then we've also been identifying, you know, the next bid packages, and we have 47 for priority sites bid packages. I have them all listed. I don't know if I need to go through all of them, but yeah.
Maybe you could email them and they get
Yeah, I can
emailed to the
email
committee
them
members?
to the committee.
Right.
And if you'd like, we can schedule an ad hoc to see if you guys would like some, just to chime in on which ones you'd like to see sooner rather than later.
Are you looking for an update on our priorities? Would that be
No,
helpful
I mean,
to you?
unless you think we need to, because I know what your priorities are, but
Okay.
sometimes there's nuance,
Right,
so.
yeah, and you know, when you've knocked off quite a lot of the priorities, so, you know, at some point, we're gonna wanna reevaluate where the priorities are now, but,
If you guys find that would be helpful, you know, we could do that. If not, we could just focus on the priorities that you've already
Okay.
given us.
Well, you're gonna send this to
But I will send you the list,
all
yeah.
members, okay.
Right.
And
Yeah.
could I ask you just to tell me about stair striping?
Yes.
What condition is that in, or what?
That project is complete.
You mean the
Stair
big-
striping?
The big package is complete.
Yes, well, no, it's been implemented as
Oh.
well. So for the priority sites at least, we did go and remedy all the stair striping issues.
Right, and I think just as a FYI, they went beyond what was required, because interior stairs only require at the top and the
Right,
bottom,
and they did
but
all-
they did all the stairs, so they did more
Yes.
than what was needed. But it's all interior work, because you haven't done any
We
exteriors?
did some exterior
Exteriors,
as
okay.
well. Whatever I can find in the findings list on the ADA transition plan.
So then, I didn't write down the numbers of what the findings were and the ones that you did, but it sounded like they were 50/50. I mean, you finished 50% of what was on the list? Is that right?
A little bit over. So as of today, we've completed 1,942,
Okay,
and we still have the 1,632 left.
okay.
Yeah.
so you guys have been very busy.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like there hasn't been a lot done, but it's just there's so much to some of the projects.
I'm feeling
involved.
like there's been a lot of progress in a relatively short period of time when you look at the bigger picture and how many things sat unaddressed for so long. So, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
And now my concern is for your budget.
Well, I mean, I don't have the exact numbers now. We have spent some money.
Yeah.
I don't have an update on that amount and what we have.
You're not feeling a pinch of lack of funding yet?
Brian, maybe
Well,
you could
yeah, I'll
speak to
jump
that?
in. I would say, you know, we've definitely tackled the lowest hanging fruit. So yeah, we got a lot of individual items done, and those numbers look great.
Yeah.
And the budget doesn't look horrible, right? If we've done more than half of the items, we haven't used up more than half of the budget, you'd think, well, great, we're on pace to finish this thing up.
Yeah.
But that's
The bigger
definitely
ticket
not the
items are
case,
still
and I
coming,
think
yeah.
it would be good to look at that 40-something list of packages, kind of overlay that with the priorities, and see, you know, does it still make sense to go at things at this, you know, using those priorities? Because there are some items that get to be pretty expensive. And, you know, for staff, you know, we tend to choose to neglect staff areas in favor of areas used by public. I think the committee would agree with that, but it helps to get a little bit more feedback and guidance from the committee when we're dealing with that. It might be the same exact item. It could be a restroom item, but if it's a restroom in City Hall versus one in a seldom used, you know, just purely staff office, that's gonna
Yeah, but we have to
change.
consider the accessibility of staff as
Right.
well.
Yeah,
So,
it's a difficult
yeah.
matrix to kind of
yeah.
sort through. And then there's an advantage of you package it with other similar things and you get a better price, so.
Yeah.
So I can, even though it may not be a concern immediately, budget is going to dry up at this pace at some point.
Yes.
And I'm interested in what this committee can do to help advocate for more budgeting, because, you know, I have a fear that council or other powers that be, you know, saw the ADA funds sitting at a relatively stable level for a while, or maybe increasing because we weren't spending. And I want to make sure that the right people understand that those expenditures are accelerating, and we don't want to find ourselves in a position where everything comes grinding to a halt.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll look to see when it's scheduled for council to consider the FY '27 capital plan. I know staff are meeting internally, I think on March 6th to review that, and certainly I'll be looking to make sure that the plan, because this is the second year of a 2-year plan, just to make sure that the plan, which a year ago when we put together the 2-year plan, it had consistent funding levels similar to what we've had for the prior 5 or so years. It had those same levels for FY '26 and FY '27, so I'll be looking to make sure that those levels are maintained, and there's a lot of priorities citywide, but I think the council understands the importance of continuing to invest in accessibility improvements. But if there's public meetings coming up, I'll send a blast out to the committee just so they know that that's happening.
Great.
Could be an opportunity to provide public comment.
Awesome.
Maya, a quick question here. Do you have some kind of an estimate of the cost of all the things you've put out for bid packages so far? Do we know what, roughly, how much your estimates are?
I do not, and we do have a column in our master Excel spreadsheet that estimates the cost, but I find that it's rarely that accurate, so.
Okay. You said
There's
it might
never one that's accurate.
it just might be helpful to let the city know that, yeah.
Yeah,
So
we
we
can-
spent this money, but we need this kind of money.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you.
So, yeah, I wasn't involved with the committee that kind of made the priorities, but I just want to remind all of us that, I mean, really the priority in terms of accessibility is getting into a facility. I mean, being able to get into the door, having parking, being able to get in from the sidewalk, as opposed to stair striping, as opposed to signage. I mean, someone being able to get into a facility there's importance to that, because otherwise, these other things they don't get to experience or appreciate because they can't get in the building. So, all right then, thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Additional?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, if you have a question.
Yeah, so you mentioned about that City Hall was next and that you're going to be, or that you're obtaining permits right now. And so I
Yeah.
assume that includes the elevator, a new elevator. And then do you have, can you estimate like a more specific time frame about when that's?
I mean, I think the drawings will be done this year, possibly the end of the summer, and then we would have to go out for bid. And then we would just have to make sure that we have the appropriate funds to get that project going.
Yeah, I would say that that's going to be that is the biggest unknown for the project. We kind of know what the process will be to get a building permit. Usually takes a little longer than you hope, but we'll get there, and hopefully, like Maya said, by the end of this year we'll have that. But there wasn't funding allocated for that project in either the FY '26 or the FY '27 budget. But part of what staff was told with that 2-year plan, because there were so many projects on the list and a lot of competing priorities, was basically keep moving forward on your project. When it's ready for funding, then we'll evaluate at that time. So things are moving forward. We're going to be ready, and I don't know yet what will happen. It may be, shifting around of existing appropriations. I don't think this is big enough where it would get packaged with some kind of a bond measure. But it's a really important project. I mean, the council chambers, it's really inadequate. That elevator that we have for the public who needs an elevator, it's not an ideal facility to be in for those types of meetings. So we definitely want to move that project forward. It'll be interesting when it's under construction, because I think, there's staff up there, but then those public meetings, this might be a temporary facility here, so there's been some discussions about making some upgrades to this facility so that it could better host different types of public meetings. So there's a lot we have to figure out, but in the meantime, the team continues to charge forward and get those building permits.
Can I ask a question about the City Hall project? Has anybody looked at accessibility to the dais?
No, not yet. That is not part of this project.
Yeah,
It's kind of a difficult,
yeah.
yeah.
It's really unfortunate that a disabled community member could not run for city council for lack of access to the dais. And that's something we should look at.
Because you have to go up a stair.
Yeah, it's an elevated dais. I'm not sure it needs to be elevated, but that is the case today.
And like if a candidate like were actually running, I wonder if that would motivate change.
Yeah, well,
That shouldn't be required.
right.
Yeah.
But that is something I think should, was it on the Gilda plan? Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine it
Yeah.
would be. That's something that I would like to see elevated in priority. I certainly won't be running this cycle.
Could have that be
But,
your key
It's on. Oh, you want the microphone?
campaign.
Campaign. Yeah.
Item.
I have
Let me in, let me in.
I have one more question for Maya. In the beginning of your presentation, you spoke about updating Excel spreadsheets and can you explain, does that mean that you'll have something to present to the committee or something that we could review? What is that you were referring to?
Yes, I think for that effort, the general evaluation sites will just have a better idea of what has been done there versus what's left. So it'll just give us some more data points. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, does anyone have any other questions?
I do. I have one more regarding this facility.
Yeah.
Do you know the status of the door opener to this room?
I think that's coming up after me. Megan Salas will
got
address
it.
that
Okay,
issue.
got it. Okay.
We do have an online public comment from
Oh.
Accessible Santa Barbara.
I think, is this item, we have more staff that are presenting under this item? Is that
Yes.
the plan?
We have
So the public comment
Ashley
can wait.
and Megan who are also going
Okay.
to speak.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Maya.
Hello. Okay. My name is Megan Salas, and I'm the facilities manager. So I just wanted to come speak to you guys about a couple of things related to the ADA transition plan and building maintenance. And just to clarify, Maya and Craig's team is working on the larger scope and of addressing the items in the plan and the capital projects related to that. Our team does the ongoing maintenance. So our team is responsible for keeping things as they are until they are updated and keeping them in good repair until that time. Since the door question was asked, I'll talk very quickly on that, where we are with that. We have recently put into place a door preventative maintenance program that is responsible for twice-a-year maintenance on publicly accessible doors in general fund buildings citywide. So we had the first round of those inspections and preventive maintenance done on doors in December. And as we expected, it has resulted in receiving a lot of proposals for repairs that these doors need. That does include the doors in this room and right out here and the restroom doors. We did receive a proposal to address the doors specifically in this area, adding push plates, replacing a door opener, a few other items. And we did approve that, and the work was actually originally scheduled to be completed last week, but it does not appear that that has happened yet. So I'm going to be checking on when that's going to be rescheduled. So it's the work in this building specifically was to install 6 column-mounted automatic door push plates, as well as, like I said, a door opener, and there's some hinge work as well on this building. So we are working through, we are pretty much approving every one of these proposals that the door company gives us when they complete their services. So that's the door
So
component.
that, this 6-month cycle is for preventative maintenance, correct?
Preventative maintenance, but also telling us what we need to do to ensure the doors are in compliance for accessibility and also full functionality. So we know that there are issues with many of our doors, not just in accessibility, but in function as well. And so they're maintaining them, and they're also giving us proposals to repair them and bring them into compliance and full functionality.
So I'm concerned or curious about the process for when there's an acute failure. This, may have benefited from some preventative maintenance, but I was here for a meeting last month. It was broken then. I believe it may have been broken at the previous quarterly meeting of this committee. I can't remember for sure on that. So I'm kind of disappointed that it has gone unrepaired this long. And I'm just wondering, maybe I didn't report it to properly elevate the priority. I guess I kind of assumed that this being so heavily used by staff, that staff would be aware and would put in the work order, and I would have expected it would have been repaired by now. And so, can you help me understand the policies, procedures, and set expectations for me?
Absolutely. And I did look to see, I was told that this had happened. So I was actually looking to see if we had a work order submitted specifically for here, and we did not. So the issues we did find with the doors were found through this preventative maintenance that was performed. I will say that exactly what you just described is why we got this contract put into place. I've been with the facilities team for about 1.5 years, and so many of our doors, we got called out over and over and over because they just kept breaking. And I am trying to move our whole program toward more proactive and preventative measures so that we replace things before they break, so that we address things before they get to this place where we have repeated failures. So that was one of the motivations of getting this preventative contract put into place, so that we could have expert eyes on things, looking at them, making sure that the weights, the timings, and again, the functionality is set correctly, and any parts that we need to replace, rather than just continuing to tweak things, replace and move on and get them so they will not continue to break frequently. Now, in terms of work orders and submitting requests when you do observe that something is broken, the best thing is to have a staff, a building contact, let them know they should put in a work order for us to complete a service. But you can also always go through SB Connect and let us know that way, and we'll add them to our work order list.
There is a work order on this now?
Now that I'm aware of it, yes, there is. Okay. Yes. But as I said, the contractor was actually scheduled to come out and work on all of these doors last week. So I need to check and see why that didn't happen yet and when he is coming back. So,
All right, thank you.
Absolutely. So.
I'm sorry, are you finished with your?
No, I just had a couple of other things I wanted to talk about. Is with the ADA transition plan, there are some items on there that are kind of more ongoing maintenance related. And so I just received that list this week. I haven't had time to go through the whole thing and figure out scheduling of it and what we're going to be, how we're going to be pulling that into our work plan. But there is going to be absolutely a facilities maintenance component of helping to complete the ADA transition plan, as well as maintain and keep the improvements that are done, keep everything in compliance going forward. That kind of goes along with my stated goals of moving us toward being proactive, getting things on a schedule of replacement. So, stair striping, making sure that we're looking at that at a stated period of time and replacing things rather than waiting for failures. So that should absolutely help in keeping our buildings in compliance and accessible for the public and for staff. And I also wanted to talk about Cartograph, which is kind of our way of being able to do this. We have been using pretty outdated software that has not been very user-friendly. It hasn't really allowed us to track specific assets like, look at this one door, how often does it break, what all has been done on it, and what could we do better going forward. So we are now have actually gone live with Cartograph this week. That allows us to actually look at each asset individually. Each of these doors is its own asset in Cartograph, and we are going to be able to look at the full histories of it, see how often we have work orders on it, see how often things are failing, see what we can be doing better, and put all of those assets on a preventative maintenance schedule that automatically is set in advance, and we go and address things again before failure. So one of the cool things about Cartograph is that you can create these basically file folders of tasks. So I have created, I started with City Hall and created a file folder in it of door-related ADA transition plan tasks that we pulled from the transition plan. And so we now have, within the system, we can look at a map view of all of the related assets. We can look at each of those and we can see which tasks go to that one specific asset, in this case door. And it'll also allow us to report really easily on those tasks and as we complete them. So we'll be able to generate a dashboard that'll say, you know, of this project file of ADA transition plan tasks, we have completed 50% or whatever, and we can set those dashboards up in many different ways to allow really easy tracking of these tasks. So again, we're going into this with the maintenance items at this point. But as our team becomes more comfortable and more used to using this, we can certainly work on other ADA transition plan tasks as well, incorporating into it.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
So you indicated that you're looking at the transition plan. So which one? The one from 2004 or the one that just got recently done?
I have seen both of them. I'm working off of the Excel spreadsheets that Maya and Craig developed of all of the tasks. And they have...
Would that be both then?
Oh, okay.
Okay, so then I guess my concern is that whatever was identified in 2007 is no longer code compliant.
Right.
And so one would have to be also checking this, because that's not identifying everything that's out of compliance based on current codes.
Right.
So how is one handling that?
So another thing that we are doing, and this won't 100% meet that, but it is a little bit of an updated version. We also are just now signing our contract to do a facilities conditions assessment of all of the general fund buildings. So although that is not focused specifically on ADA, there is an ADA component to that. So we are going to be having this consultant come in and look at all the facilities, make a complete list of assets, do an inventory of assets, and they will tell us the conditions of them and what needs to be updated, fixed, help us address deferred maintenance. So we will be able to cross-check against the data from that. But also, when we're talking maintenance, we're talking about things like moving furniture out of the path of travel, fixing a door, things like that. So a lot of this stuff is stuff that we get our hands on anyway. In terms of I saw 2 tasks, I think, for moving items out of the way. So we'll need to look specifically at those. But that's also about being proactive and making sure that staff know what this means and that you do not put furniture in the path of travel, or you do not do these types of things going forward so they don't become ongoing maintenance issues. Like I said, I just got into the list earlier this week, so I haven't been able to go really thorough into all of it, but from just the kind of things that I saw of maintenance related issues, that's how we'll address them.
And then is the women's door opener on the work order?
It is, yes.
Okay. And when was that put on the work order?
It's on it was assessed by the contractor in December, mid-December, and then they provided a proposal to us end of January, which we signed and returned to them. So I asked, let's see here, let me see if he sent it to me. I asked for the service ticket on these doors so that I could give you guys more information specifically, and I don't think I've received them yet. No.
Was it at the last meeting where we had the issue with the door?
I think it was two.
Yeah,
it was
that,
2 meetings ago, right?
Yeah, I guess I'm a little shocked, actually, because we had a member fall.
that issue was addressed. That was right after I started, so that was about a year and a half ago. And that issue was addressed.
Okay, I want to
Yes.
say, please, don't tell me that
No.
it's taken this long for that to be fixed.
No, no, no. And
Okay.
that's the thing with maintenance, is that we can bring a door into functionality compliance, and
Right.
it doesn't take a lot for it to then get out of it a month later.
Right.
So by fixing hardware, fixing hinges, that kind of stuff, it will allow those doors, once they're in compliance, to stay in compliance longer, so that we're not having failures.
Okay, all right then, thank you.
Thank you. I just want to give some feedback. I fully appreciate the proactive approach, and I'm also feeling some excitement from you about the tools that you're implementing to help with that, and I'm encouraged. Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. I am excited.
Can I ask one quick question? For the things that tend to break down frequently, like the push plates and, things like that, is there a way, excuse me, someone can go around, you could have like routine inspections for those items that seem to break down a lot? So to catch the things before somebody reports them?
We certainly can, and that is part of this preventative. I mean, they will now be testing them twice a year.
Okay.
We do also ask all staff that as they are going in and out of buildings, like we were having some issues with the exterior push plate here for a while, and we were repairing it, and then it would stop functioning again. Had some odd issues going on. And so we were asking staff from this building, hey, can you go through that entrance over there and, use the push plate so that we can keep an eye on this and know if the fix that we had put into place at that time was holding. So they will now be tested at minimum twice a year. One of the most recent, or one of the most frequent issues is just battery replacement on them when batteries are needed. So part of this maintenance is we're replacing batteries. We're not waiting until the batteries die, we're replacing the batteries during maintenance. So yes. Did that answer that?
Yeah, I think so. So is that going to include if more push plates are installed in other buildings or other facilities, other doors, that's going to be included in the routine inspections?
Yes, we will be, like I said, we already have 60-something doors that are included, and that's the general fund buildings. But as needed, we will absolutely expand that to any new doors that need it.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions? All right, then I think the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Actually,
Oh, wait, we have one more. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
And we have public comment waiting.
Oh, yes, thank you for the reminder.
Hello, Access Advisory Committee. My name is Ashley Lopez. I work in facilities engineering. I'm here to give you just a brief little synopsis on
I think
our...
the mic's not on.
Oh, sorry about that.
It may be on, it's just,
I'm too
Hi.
short? Is that the problem? That's usually the problem.
Okay.
I feel you.
I'm here to just give a brief little synopsis on our Mercy House project. I'm not sure you're aware of it. The city purchased the Mercy House property located at 816 Cacique Street on January 1st, 2026. Mercy House provides services to individuals experiencing homelessness. A certified access specialist, or CASP report, was performed of the building in early January. We were given a report which was turned into an Excel spreadsheet just to act as a checklist so that we can go through and verify tasks or items are being completed. The objective is to remedy identified non-compliant conditions and bring applicable items into compliance with current building code accessibility standards, that's 2025 and beyond. Because this is a newly acquired facility, the CAS findings are being incorporated as an addendum to the existing transition plan. However, transition plan funding is not being used to address these issues. We are using acquisition funds to address the issues. I think I'm currently working on developing cost estimates for all of the items listed on the CAS report. I've lumped them into projects, and I'm creating priorities based off of those items.
Can you let us know who prepared the CAS report?
Sally Swanson.
Sally Swanson, okay. Does anyone, I guess, how many people will this accommodate, this Mercy House?
I believe it's 60 beds, 30 men, 30 women.
And who's running this program? Where is it located?
It's located at 816 Cacique Street.
Okay. So it used to be formerly the
Path building.
Path Building. Okay, okay.
Correct.
All right. So the city's then taking ownership of this.
Correct. We took ownership January 1st.
Okay. That'll be a big project.
It is giant.
Well, good luck on that, and I'm glad the city's being proactive about trying to accommodate all members of our community.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have 2 public comments. The first one is online from Accessible Santa Barbara.
Hello again.
Hi, Will.
We can't hear you if you're speaking, and I'm not sure if you've got your mute button on.
Still there, Will?
Will, we're having a hard time hearing you.
Can you log off and log in again?
Maybe we can let the other individual speak, and then he can come back on again? All right, so Will, if you can hear us, sign off, and then we'll have someone else speak, and then we'll try you again.
Okay. David Beaver.
Hi, I'm David Beaver. I did not plan to speak, and I'm going to, this is very general, has nothing to do with this agenda item, if that's okay. Okay. I moved to Santa Barbara recently, and I'm running some commercial real estate, and I have a new career in commercial real estate, and I'm becoming quite adept at ADA accessibility issues. I could almost be a CAPS consultant myself. I've gone through the process with a lot of my building permits of having to upgrade things and that sort of thing. And I have run into many, many issues that I wish, where I know a city official is going to come in and tell me to do something that on the paper may seem unreasonable, but the law is what it is, and so I understand the law is what it is, and I do it. And I wish there was some flexibility or reasonableness or ability to have a discussion on some of these, in some cases, expensive accessibility issues. Okay? So I came to the meeting today to understand what you guys are all about and what you do, just so I could learn. And I was really interested in the discussion about the accessible wheeled powered devices on beaches or in the parks and that sort of thing. And I'm not at all saying this to be critical, but I simply want to point out perhaps the irony of what I saw is that, Nick, you wanted to be able to essentially break the rules. The rules on the beaches or in the parks are a certain way, and you wanted to do something differently that was reasonable. And Michael, you made a comment of, yeah, you can absolutely see a government official, a park ranger or whatever, enforcing that. And Elizabeth, you made a comment about, boy, I wish there was wish we could have some flexibility in some of these rules.
No, I didn't say that.
Oh.
Not flexibility in rules. I mean,
I didn't have the exact quote.
that's okay. No, I just.
So my
yeah.
point is, I was watching all of you essentially be on the other side of the issue conceptually that I find myself on, which is we have a society, we have rules. Rules can be a real pain in the ass sometimes, but they're written for a certain reason. And we all wish that there could be just rational, I don't want to say exceptions, but rational compliance rather than literal compliance with the rules. So my point to you guys is, may we all be rational and not quite so literal sometimes.
So I just want to make a comment about that. I'm not quite sure. I mean, I'm not seeing it in the way that you're seeing it. I think what Nick was trying to say is that because of ADA allows him to be able to have access, and to a lot of places they don't have access. And so he was asking for a policy so that he wouldn't be stopped, because ADA clearly gives him that ability to be able to go into spaces, to be able to enjoy the beach. The city has already provided something that could be used, but for some individuals, trying to use what the city has provided isn't an accommodation, isn't something that someone's comfortable in. So, I mean, ADA does allow,
No, I
it does
understand.
give the right to someone, and so all he's asking is for, I guess, a
Local
policy
clarity.
that shows that he won't be stopped. So I don't see it breaking the rules or breaking, I didn't read it that way, so I'm not
Are
quite
we
clear.
allowed to have a discussion, you know,
Well, I want to share that I see your analogy.
thank you.
To Elizabeth's points, I do see it a little differently, but I don't want to argue the nuance. I appreciate what you're sharing, your frustration, and yeah, we can have a discussion. I'm not trying to shut this down.
Okay. I guess my response, not being at all an expert, but my response would be that the rules about no motorized devices on the beach aren't an ADA rule. They're a, you know, somebody mentioned they're the, you know, keep the animals
Well,
safe
but
rule.
the difference is there is an ADA law that says it is allowed.
That overrides everything else. I
Yes.
understand that.
Yeah.
So we're all living in a world of rules, and as I heard the woman, I'm sorry, I don't remember the name, but who was going to be writing the policy that would try to draw a line between accessibility motor devices and fun motor devices. Somebody's going to have to write a policy on that, and somebody's going to have some very specific definitions, as you say, is it horsepower or speed or whatever, and somebody's going to violate that.
Yeah.
Or want to break it because of some rational exception. And somebody's going to say, well, no, the rule is what the rule is.
Yeah.
So all I'm asking for is, I wish we had a world in public works, and as I push building permits through the building department and through you guys, I wish our world was better for rational exceptions. And I encourage you to think about that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so do we have Will back on?
I hope so.
Yeah, there we go.
I will.
Okay, well, good to have the meeting end on a positive presentation. I really applaud the update on the transition plan work and the whole framework that's been created for identifying the problems, organizing contracts, and starting to now do the construction and achieve the goal of everybody all these decades after ADA to have a fully accessible city. So we are, you know, whatever differences come up, we are all working toward that goal. And compared to 10 years ago and even 5 years ago, it really is such a difference. I mean, from that perspective. So I do want to applaud everything that's going on. Now, I wanted to ask, probably Brian's the right person on this, because, you know, one of the things we discuss a lot is the distinction between building code and ADA, and specifically the role of certified access specialists or CASPs in the upgrade and update process. You know, regarding the building permitting, the building department is, now I'm not a CASP, and I don't want to argue that a CASP is required for everything in accessibility, but they are a valuable resource, and it is the gold standard for accreditation in California. And I, you know, I want to applaud the building department at this point that they've got 4 CASPs, you know, two inspectors, Mr. Rubin and Mr. DeBold, are CASP certified now. And on the plan check side, you've got the supervisor of plan check, Mr. Barajas, and a senior plan checker, Mr. Martinez. That is really amazing. And I know that people in Public Works have been pursuing the CASP, and it's not an easy exam. But I was wondering if Brian, it's a little less visible online. If there are currently any CASPs in Public Works, and what is your process for bringing CASPs in to the design and construction on the ongoing projects that are going on now? Just for, I guess, for quality control and to have an expert on contract for the difficult questions that arise. Thank you.
Okay, if I answer that?
Yes?
Yeah, so we do not currently have any CASPs in Public Works. We desire to have as many as possible, and it's been great to watch what's happened with community development. We've attended a lot of the same trainings because they've invited Public Works staff. Some of those who presented today attended very similar trainings, CASP trainings, where we've brought in outside presenters to help with that. And unfortunately, because we don't live in that plan check world day in and day out in the way that the community development staff do, it's a little bit more challenging for us. We really have to devote time outside of work, and haven't quite gotten to the level where we've been able to get staff to either have the time to do that and then to go ahead and do it. So it hasn't happened yet. It's definitely a goal. And as far as bringing staff in who have that would be amazing. But the reality is most likely we'll have to kind of grow that in-house, like we saw what happened with community development. They didn't hire these people with the credentials, but they invested in the training, and management really bought into the importance of it, and 4 staff so far have achieved that, which is great. I think it would be good in Public Works. I don't want to necessarily set a specific goal, but it would be great to have at least 2, because we're pretty big. The engineering team is quite large, on the street side, and then with the architectural side. So it'd be great to get there, but we're not there yet. Long answer to the question.
I might be misremembering, but I thought maybe Craig was working towards it.
He is working towards it. He has sat for the exam one time, and I think that was, it kind of let him know how much of an effort it was going to have to be before he felt like he was ready to sit for that again. And of course, some of you may know that he recently had first child, so not necessarily the best time to be spending your outside of work hours studying, but we'll hope he'll get there, or somebody else from the team maybe will get there soon.
No, and just from my own experience, I think plan checking really helped take the test, because they were things that I knew already that Public Works wouldn't be reviewing or have that experience. So having plan check for commercial buildings, it just, there were certain things that you had memorized, you didn't have to think about it. So it wasn't as much of an investment, because that was my world to begin with, so.
Yeah, so you can get to the right answer, but you're going to burn through a whole bunch of time.
Right.
Whereas somebody who does it day in and day out, they've
Yes.
got the answer.
Yeah.
Very quick follow-up. Is that okay?
Sure.
So that's good, and I think that's that's progress, and we know you have expertise that you can draw on. I'm wondering, in the design process of all these bid plans getting prepared, do you see a role for having an outside cast do any review? Or I believe some of your staff are now licensed architects. I at least are they? Do you feel that that's sufficient accessibility expertise? And before you answer, I really don't want to leave this unsaid. It's unrelated, but regarding Ms. Salas's presentation, I think you know, maintenance is not glamorous, but it's so important. And I thought that was a great presentation. And I do hope that in the facilities condition assessment that the company that was selected might be actually having a CASP, you know, on staff as part of their review of the facilities. And I also would like to recommend that to get even less glamorous, that the cleaning contractors be brought in for just some basic reminders of things like when there's a movable garbage can in a bathroom, that the location is important to maintain for accessibility. So back to you, Brian. Thank you for a great meeting, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, just quick answer to that question. I'll be quicker than the last one. So we often will now supplement the design, either if it's city design, we could bring on just a CASP specifically, or we will ask the design team to include that in their proposal and in their project team to have a CASP, depending on the project.
All right, then, our meeting is adjourned, and thank you, everyone, for your comments and participation.